Hey everyone, you've seen it all before, right? Companies talking about their charity drives or their big environmental promises. But how much of that is real and how much is just good marketing? Well, today we're going to peel back the layers and look at the actual blueprint for what makes a company genuinely good. Let's jump in.
So let's start with a really basic question. Obviously, companies need to make money to survive. But is that it? Is that all that matters? Just take a second and think about a company you actually truly admire. What is it about them? What's that special something that makes you think, yeah, they're one of the good ones? That's exactly what we're digging into today.
And here it is. The official term for that special something is corporate social responsibility, or CSR for short. Now, the words to really focus on here are obligation, maximize positive, and minimize negative. See, this isn't just about donating money. It's a whole framework for how a company owes a duty to everyone it affects. We're talking employees, customers, the local community, you name it. We call all those groups stakeholders. Okay, so to really wrap our heads around CSR, we first have to draw a line in the sand between it and another term you hear a lot, business ethics. They sound pretty similar, but trust me, the difference between them is absolutely crucial for understanding what really makes a company's reputation sink or swim. Here's the easiest way to break it down. Think of business ethics as the internal rulebook. It's about how the people inside the company are supposed to act and make decisions day to day. CSR, on the other hand, is about the company's relationship with the outside world. It's that bigger, broader duty to society as a whole. So one is about individual behavior, the other is about the organization's total impact. And this, right here, is why that distinction matters so much. It turns out that what a company does on the inside, how ethically it behaves, has a way bigger impact on its reputation than all the flashy charity stuff it does on the outside. And it makes perfect sense, right? Authenticity is everything. You just can't put your logo on a charity fun run to distract from the fact that you treat your employees poorly. People see right through that. A solid ethical core isn't optional, because trust is always, always built from the inside out. All right, so if CSR is this big, broad obligation, how does a company actually put it into practice? Well, there's a really helpful way to picture it as a pyramid with 4 distinct levels, where each level rests on the one below it. So the base of the entire pyramid, the foundation, is economic responsibility. Look, before a company can do any good out in the world, it first has to be a healthy, functioning business. It has to be profitable. It has to create value. This isn't about being greedy. It's about being viable. Think about it. A company that goes bankrupt can't help anyone. If you can't even make payroll, you're definitely not funding any community projects. Without this solid economic base, the whole pyramid just falls apart. Now, sitting right on top of that economic foundation is legal responsibility. This one's pretty straightforward. A company has to play by the rules. It has to obey the law, period. This is the bare minimum, the social contract in action. We're talking about everything from paying your taxes and following labor laws to making sure your products are safe. It's non-negotiable. Okay, now we're starting to climb higher up the pyramid, and this is where it gets more interesting. This is ethical responsibility. This is about choosing to do what's right, fair, and just, even when the law doesn't force you to. For instance, the law might allow you to pay a super low minimum wage, but is it the ethical thing to do? This level is all about listening to what your stakeholders, your customers, your employees, the community, actually expect from a good company, and then living up to those standards. And finally, at the very peak of the pyramid, we have philanthropic responsibility. This is the giving back part we often think of first. This is totally voluntary. Think of a company donating a chunk of its profits to a cause it believes in, or giving employees paid time off to volunteer. They don't have to do it. They choose to. It's often the most visible piece of CSR, but it really only carries weight if those other 3 levels below it are rock solid. Which brings us to this idea. When a company actually manages to nail all 4 of these levels, from being profitable all the way to giving back, it earns the title of corporate citizen. It's seen as a true contributing member of society, not just a money-making machine. So we've covered the what of CSR with that pyramid, but now let's get into the who and the how. Who exactly is CSR for, and how do companies make sure they're actually doing it right? This is all about stakeholders and governance. You see, genuine CSR can't just be cooked up in a boardroom. It demands a real stakeholder orientation. That's just a fancy way of saying a company is committed to listening to, understanding, and actually responding to the needs of every single group that has a stake in its success. It's about having a real conversation, a two-way street, with everyone from your employees to your customers to the people who live next door to your factory.
And when companies do have that conversation, they find that the same big issues pop up again and again. You've got social issues, like fairness, diversity, and how you treat your workers. There's consumer protection. Are your products safe? Is your marketing honest? Then there's the huge topic of sustainability and your environmental footprint. And holding it all together is corporate governance.
You can think of corporate governance as the internal engine that powers CSR. It's all the formal systems, the checks and balances, the board of directors, the internal policies that are designed to keep the company accountable and on track. Good governance is what turns good intentions into consistent, reliable, socially responsible behavior. And of course, a huge piece of the puzzle these days is sustainability. This is really about playing the long game. It's about looking beyond the next financial quarter and thinking about the long-term health of our planet. The goal is to figure out how business, people, and nature can all thrive together, not just for us, but for the generations to come. Okay, this all sounds great, but it also sounds like a lot of work. Which leads us to a really practical bottom-line question: why bother? What's really in it for a company to do all of this? What's the real value of being good? And remember, once you get past those basic legal and economic duties, most of what we're talking about here is voluntary. Companies choose to be ethical. They choose to be philanthropic. So you've got to believe there's a pretty compelling reason why they make that choice. And here are a couple of popular ways they do it. First, you have strategic philanthropy. This is when a company uses what it's already good at to help out. So a software company might teach kids how to code. Then you have cause-related marketing, which is when you tie your sales to a good cause, like promising to donate $1 for every product sold. Both are really smart ways to align business goals with doing good in a world. So, what is the payoff for all this effort? Well, it's huge. And it's not just about warm, fuzzy feelings. It's about good business. Companies with strong CSR have employees who are more committed. They have customers who trust them more. They have investors who are more loyal. It can even lead to being more efficient and, yes, better financial performance. At the end of the day, being a good corporate citizen is a massive competitive advantage. Which brings us right back around to our big final question. After all this, what do you think? Is corporate social responsibility a moral duty, something a company should do because it's the right thing to do? Or is it a strategic advantage, something a company should do because it's good for business? You know, maybe the real answer is that in the world we live in today, you just can't have one without the other.